All right, thank you all for coming out. Since we all got introduced, it'd be nice to let you guys introduce yourselves. So for 30 seconds, if we want to start down at this end, please introduce yourself and give us a little bit about your platform.
30 seconds, wow. Okay. Senator Kevin M. Harris, I'm happy to be here. Thank y'all for hosting this event. I've been a servant as long as I can been living. And so I've been serving in my community as a kid, served my country for 11 years, a tour in Iraq and tour in Afghanistan, and now I've been serving in the Maryland General Assembly as delegate for 3 years and for the past 5 months as the state senator, and I've been happy to do it.
Good evening, my name is Aaron Corbin. I'm an Air Force veteran, spent 6 years in the Air Force. Right now I work for Metro as a compliance manager. I've worked for the public transportation for about 9 years so far.
Good evening, I'm Delegate C.T. Wilson. I'm running for State Senate. American Legion, thank you guys very much. I looked at my picture, so apparently I pissed somebody off, but that's fine. I'm a veteran, Gulf War, as well as Bosnia-Herzegovina. I have 3 daughters, all graduated through public schools. Last one's graduated valedictorian this year. I've been attorney for 23 years. I was the former chair of the House Economic Matters Committee. I recently was booted off. I guess I'm a little too moderate, but I wanted to say that I've been a proven voice for 16 years. I hope to plan on continue to do that. Thank you.
What was the sign? I can see it. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Fowler. I'm born and raised here in District 27, which is not where we are right now. We're in District 28, but that is where I'm running for State Senate. I went to DeMatha Catholic High School in Prince George's County and graduated from Georgetown Law. I have a wife and 3 kids, and I'm an attorney in private practice for the last 12 years here in Maryland. I'm a real estate broker as well, a member of the Southern Maryland Association of Realtors, and I served on the Government Affairs Committee in that organization. I ran previously in 2018 with Mike Miller on his slate on District 27. So, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Clifton Crosby Jr. I'm running for State Delegate District 27A. I'm born and raised from Charles County. As previously said, we're now in 27. I'm a former student legislator from Towson University, and outside of that, I've been serving as a cyber engineer for the federal government for the past 5 years. I have a passion for problem solving, and I hope to make an impact at the state level.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Yanel Moore-Lee, running for State Delegate in 27A. I am the immediate past chair of the Board of Education in Charles County. Also served on the Business Education Committee with the Chamber for the past 3 years. Very, very proud to be here. Proud wife of a Marine Corps veteran. Mother of 3 Charles County Public School students. Attorney, has been in private practice for over 20 years. And most of all, a public servant. Thank you.
Are you tired? I'm Sean Malden. I'm a business owner creating jobs for the past 10 years, 2 times published author, a people with disabilities advocate, and I'm also the only candidate that has been elected to do the work that we're going to be doing as a delegate, serving as a legislator as well as an executive. I'm sick and tired of prices rising, and I'm tired of politics as usual. Let's move the county forward.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gerald Odom. I'm a delegate that's been appointed by Governor Westmore to fill up a position. I'm seeking to be elected by those of you in the audience and those in 27A to represent them. I have lived in Prince George's County for the past 21 years. I live in the Brandywine area, and I have 2 children. My lovely wife is here joining me, Christine Odom, and I'm looking to serve you further as 27A's delegate. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Delegate Deborah Davis. I currently serve as your District 28 delegate. I am really proud of what we've done in the last 8 years that I've been serving. We've brought back dollars for Charles County, our share of dollars. We've supported our students. We've supported small businesses. And my time is almost up. So thank you so much. Thank you for your support, and I ask for your continued support.
Good evening. I'm John Jones, candidate for State Delegate, District 28. I'm a product of Southern Maryland. I graduated PG County High Schools, but I got all my advanced education at the College of Southern Maryland, Bowie State, and Johns Hopkins. I'm a scientist, a father. I've got 2 kids that are in Charles County Public Schools, and I'm looking forward to bringing a new voice to state politics.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Delegate Edith Patterson. I represent you in the Maryland General Assembly. I've been in public service for a very long time. You know my track record as a board member of the Charles County Board of Commissioners, as a school board member for 12 years, and certainly as your representative in Annapolis. My track record represents my commitment to making sure that families, that they are given a fair chance. I look forward to continue the service because we cannot step back. We must move forward, and I appreciate your having us this evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Evan Smith. I'm running for Delegate District 28. I graduated with my degree in chemical engineering from California Polytechnic in Pomona. I'm the comms director for the Young Democrats of Southern Maryland, and I hold my EIT license as well as a active security license related to the work I did at the Indian Head base. My priorities for small business are the same as anyone else. I believe that if they're benefiting the county, they're going to be benefiting you.
Hello, I'm James Ashburn, Republican candidate for D28 State Delegate. I'm running to bring fiscal responsibility to Annapolis. I'll fight to reduce unnecessary spending, close a structural deficit, and then repeal many of the taxes and fees that have been enacted in the past 4 years. We don't have a revenue problem, we got a spending problem. Senior taxpayers are leaving, they can't afford to retire in Maryland. Young taxpayers are leaving because they don't see a bright future in Maryland. Remember, the state's credit rating was downgraded in 2025. James Ashford humbly asks for your vote.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Winfield Clark. I'm a Charles County native. I'm running because it's time for Charles County to reach its potential. We have immense talent and rising income, but every day it leaves this county. For the past 20 years, I've been transforming businesses and helping them achieve results. As a profit and a nonprofit leader, I know what it means to humbly serve people and impact the community. I'm running to bring jobs here, improve infrastructure, and make sure the growth works for you. Thank you.
All right. I gotta tell you, that was impressive. I've never seen you all stick to 30 seconds, so well done. That's right. We're gonna keep it going. I'm gonna give you a forewarning of the order that I'm gonna have you answer. I'm prone to talk fast, so I'm gonna ask the question twice. And then once I ask the question twice, we'll go in the order that I delegate. So this time, we're gonna start at this end down here, and we're gonna work our way this way, okay? We'll also try to keep to 30 seconds. We'll be a little bit forgiving at first. All right, so here's your question. What do you see as the main challenge facing the Charles County business community, and how would you address it in your role as a state elected official? So again, what do you see as the main challenge facing the Charles County business community, and how would you address it in your role as a state elected official?
I think our main challenge is a bedroom community challenge. 64% of our citizens leave here to go to work, and they spend half their money where they work. In order to address this, there's 3 things we need to do. We need to create jobs here and elevate businesses so that they better serve the community. We need to improve the infrastructure and take some of these cars off the road, and we need to make sure that our government is more efficient and accountable to enable the type of growth that we need.
Well, I think the main challenges facing the Charles County business community are taxes, regulation, and just the trouble with the permitting and getting permits to run your business. I mean, we have a problem here where they throw taxes on people that run businesses, they make you pay for all these different things, and they don't have any idea how to run a business on their own, and they sit and complain when people leave, they move out of the county. It's actually move out of the state. Thank you.
I see the main challenge facing the Charles County-based community as one where we've put them in an unwinnable situation. They don't get any foot traffic because we haven't built rapid transit like we said we would 30 years ago, and the costs of running their businesses are just more and more every year. To fix these, I would push, obviously, for rapid transit. We've needed it for how long. And I would shift our revenue towards making sure that big businesses, and especially mega corporations, are paying their fair share. That's pretty much it.
Just to interrupt you real quick. Go ahead and state your name again before you respond, just so people know who you are, and we won't start your time until after you've stated your name. Okay?
My name is Evan Smith.
Sorry.
I don't need to
Well, again,
restate it.
it's good to drive your name home. That's what it's about. Name recognition, man.
Appreciate it. 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Delegate Edith Patterson. I think the biggest challenge facing us, for me, as I sit in my committee, is making sure that we are getting the monies that the state has put forth. That is to make Charles County more competitive, to have the framework where businesses are welcome here, that will come here. When we think about the Decades Act that was in place, that is an act that is there to make sure that the businesses are able to reap what the state is doing in terms of revitalization and in terms of infrastructure. Thank you.
John Jones. But one of the biggest concerns with the business in Southern Maryland in general is accessibility. Anytime I talk to my peers or anytime I talk to anyone and I invite them to Southern Maryland, the first thing they say is, I don't want to catch a flight to Waldorf. So the idea that we need to have public transit and easier accessibility to our businesses will have a big drive to our revenue. And also I want to reduce some of the burdens for our business owners. Make sure that any legislation that's in the way of starting a new business is necessary, and anything that's unnecessary can go away.
Thank you. I'm Delegate Deborah Davis. I think the problem is twofold. One would be transportation, and I want to tell you what I do about it. My first year in the legislature, I passed the Southern Maryland Rapid Transit bill to make sure that we had the funding to move that project forward. The second, I would say, is affordable housing. Our kids can't afford to live here. It's important that they're able to thrive here and live here, and I can see my grandbabies more often. Thank you.
Delegate Darrell Odom. Great question. I think one of the main challenges is not only the transportation, but the community has been growing. Charles County's population has been growing over the years, maybe 20-some% greater than it was 10 years ago, and it's continuing to grow. That requires more housing, that requires more services, it requires more basic businesses such as community shopping centers, things that attract those that live here and make others want to travel here. And the transportation does not help it. Thank you.
I want to be responsive to the question. The question was about facing the business community. It's simple, it's easy, it's resources. We have to make sure that those resources at the state level are not only known, but they are available to our businesses down at this local level. The Maryland Department of Commerce has programs. Who would have known? There are programs that are available that are allowing our businesses to have sponsorship, allowing our businesses to have mentorship, allowing our businesses to have training. We have to make them accessible. Who's ever in office, make sure our residents know about them and are accessing them.
Good evening again, Attorney Yanel Moore-Lee, 27A. First and foremost, we have everything that we need. We just need to do a better job of advertising it, making it accessible, allowing our businesses to grow. We need people to be able to afford to stay where they live. We also need to build our pipeline for those that are currently in school that want to come into the business community, that want to work in Charles County. We need them to stay here, keep their tax dollars here. We also need to train our workforce. Many of the people are wanting to go to other businesses, wanting to go to other industries, but have no way to get there or no way to improve their skills. Thank you.
Clifton Crosby, 27A. When I asked this question to a business owner locally, he told me, and I quote, they need to show us where the money is. The biggest problem facing business owners is that they need help sustaining their business. We can help them do that by having a more competitive corporate tax rate and actually having infrastructure that fosters business growth in this county.
Jason Fowler, candidate for State Senate in District 27. So when we're trying to build a better business community, one of the biggest things that we need to do is we need to have our infrastructure in place. We need people's ability to get to and from, but we also need to invest in broadband internet. So many people in Charles County don't even have that. And then on top of it, we want to attract people to live in our communities. We need to have recreation and entertainment locations so they want to stay. So those are important things. The other thing that we need to do is we need a pipeline for workforce development, whether it be cybersecurity or other fields of military jobs or agriculture, we need to do that.
Thank you. C.T. Wilson, small business owner, my wife is as well. We understand the challenges. Number one is the constant tax burden and the fees that are always, we're treated like a piggy bank a lot of times. But I didn't get that for a while. Secondly, a lot of times these businesses, we're not given access to, we're not given priority to any of the Maryland contracts. We have so many out-of-state businesses doing business in Maryland, building in Maryland. We're not focusing on our actual Maryland businesses, making sure that we have priority, and again, making sure that the legacy contractors aren't the only ones that are able to bid for these state contracts. Thank you.
Aaron Corbin, District 28. What's facing small businesses is the same problem that's facing a lot of us. The cost of living is going up, so businesses are paying more in rent, just like mortgage interest rates are going up, business loans are going up. And then we have taxes and regulations that's also affecting small businesses. What I would like to do is make sure that we have our big businesses paying their taxes so that hopefully we could give tax breaks to small businesses. And also loosen the regulations for small businesses for the next 2 or 3 years, depending on the industry that the business is in.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. Main challenge I believe that's facing our businesses is and will be our state budget. We need money to ensure that we do things for our businesses across the board, and that's going to cost money for us. I put two bills in that affects our businesses in the state of Maryland and across different counties, and one of them made it, one didn't because of money. So we got to figure out how we're going to figure out that revenue piece so that we can keep our businesses flowing.
Thank you. Kevin, you get 3 seconds to breathe. We're starting on this side and coming back this way. 30 seconds. Again, please state your name for the newcomers on Facebook. Question: what is one concrete action you have taken recently to support a small business beyond attending events?
Good question. So Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. So besides going to the business and supporting them and giving them my money outside of that, recently this past session, one of the things I did was put a bill in to work on and figure out ways that we can waive small businesses and their fees, as well as provide grants for businesses so that they can start and get going with the help of the state. Now that particular grant bill did not make it through, but our fee bill did make it through.
Okay, one thing I did to support a small business, shout out to a small business owner, White Vitra. She has a real estate business. I helped support her by helping advertise. I've helped her sell a house by giving her clients and legal advice. I'm an attorney, so I helped her. So shout out White Vitra and the home team.
Things I've done for small business, obviously besides owning one, I put in bills to make sure that, again, trying to make sure that at least some of our construction is set aside for Maryland-specific businesses without violating interstate commerce law, as well as I've always been making sure that small businesses aren't held to project labor agreements unnecessarily. If it's something that they voluntarily do, that's fine, but it should be requisite even if they're receiving state monies.
Jason Fowler, candidate for State Senate in District 27. For me, not only do I advise businesses on a regular basis as an attorney, but I'm a frequent shopper of local businesses, not just here in Charles County, but in my home county of Calvert and even in Prince George's. So for me, where we spend our local dollars, those dollars go right back into our own community. So investing in our community and in our businesses is spending our raw dollars.
Clifton Crosby, 27A. I believe during the campaign, we are promoters. We're trying to get our name out there. We're trying to reach a broader audience. And the best way that we're trying to do that in my campaign is having our events at local businesses and small businesses, using small and local businesses to, print flyers, put out signs, putting money into our community as we're trying to spend all of this money during the campaign. And especially the things that we're advocating for small business through this campaign, like creating a small business tax credit.
Attorney Yanel Morley, District 27A. One of the main things I've done actually is working on the Business and Education Committee with the Chamber of Commerce almost every month for the past 3 years, which helps all of our small businesses. It helps build our workforce development. It helps build our pipeline. It helps with training. We've identified where internships can be created for our students. We've identified the needs of the businesses. I've attended many of the mixers. I've supported by purchasing products, by promoting the businesses, and as well as networking.
Malden, District 27A, for delegate. There's a proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with people, right? Go together. And so I believe that strongly as it runs across all of our businesses. So what I have done specifically, I am a small business owner of an American Sign Language interpreting agency, and so we provide interpreting services at a high fee. I particularly help this particular company called Betty's Cakes right here in Charles County, and with providing services for free. Didn't cost me anything. That's just a specific example.
Again, Delegate Darrell Odom, 27A. I would say that one of the things I've done as a freshman delegate, sworn in on the second Tuesday of January, went into session on the following day. I've initiated a local bond initiative, which was partially funded. I submitted funding for that bond for $725,000, and it was appropriated about half of that. That's going to be located in 27A. They'll do. My time is up.
Thank you. Delegate Davis, District 28. Every year we meet, our team meets with local businesses and local nonprofits to find out how we can help them move forward. We've been successful in bringing home hundreds of thousands of dollars since I've been there to help support local businesses and local nonprofits. So we've been very successful with that. Thank you.
John Jones, District 28. Small businesses, my big thing is amplifying those businesses where I can. Any services that we need as a family or my peers need, I always try to refer to local businesses. One in particular that I support, I continually share their food with some larger platforms, trying to amplify traffic to their business. And also, I'm a product of a small business. I was a track coach and a strength athlete, and I worked for a small business here, and it was my job to bring more athletes and more clients to those businesses.
Edith Patterson, District 28. This past October, I sponsored, along with my colleagues, Delegate Davis and Delegate Wilson, a forum at the College of Southern Maryland targeting women, minorities, and veterans to explain to them how they can take advantage of business opportunities, grants, and tax credits. It was very successful. For many years, we also sponsored and supported the fact that in Indian Head there was no grocery store. And so with our funding and state funding, state and federal funding, the Oasis grocery store is now in place. That is a small business. And lastly, the last session we sponsored many bills. HB 461 was one that I supported. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Evan Smith. So as a young guy here in Charles County, I don't have the money as an established attorney or career politician to be directly injecting that into small businesses, but I have supported local businesses where I can, whether that means in Indian Head or La Plata, Waldorf, or even Hughesville. But I will say that one thing that I have done, in particular, is that I shoveled the snow back that last winter. I shoveled the snow to help my neighbor out. His car couldn't make it out of the drift because our apartment complex didn't plow the parking lot, so I helped him make sure he could get to work. Sorry if that's not as fiscally impressive, but there you go.
Hello, I'm James Ashburn, Republican from State Delegate District 28. I was recently looking for a tractor wheel for an older tractor. After researching the wheel online, I went to 2 local businesses to approach them to see if they had that wheel. And then they didn't have it, so I took a reference to somebody else that was local. So I try to shop local when possible. That's always important. I use local printers. I don't go online and get a printer out of town. And those are the things we can do to help local businesses.
Winfield Clark, candidate for Delegate, District 28. I recently served as an advisor to the board of directors for a food security nonprofit called Celestial Manna. They serve the greater DMV and they give about 4 million people a year meals that they wouldn't have had. I helped them create a strategic plan that would position them for future growth. And now they're moving forward.
Excellent. So fair warning, this time we're going to start here, work our way this way, then we'll go here, work our way this way. All right. Question. What outdated state regulatory barriers need to be addressed, and will you commit to a comprehensive review within your first year? Again, what outdated state regulatory barriers need to be addressed, and would you commit to a comprehensive review within your first year?
Malding, State Delegate 27A. Listen, folks, I've thought about this. You know, if you have a business, and I do, that annual fee of $300 a month can add up. So many businesses right now are not in good standing. I will completely submit to a complete review of that. We need to do away with it. And in fact, in some cases, it is able to be done away with. So again, we need to bring the resources back so that people know that it can be done away with it. If folks sign up with Maryland Saves, something that we don't really promote and we should on the state level.
Attorney Yanel Morley, 27A, yes, I will commit. In a word, businesses need access to capital. That is the number one thing that I consistently hear to start a business, to grow a business, to expand a business. There's so much red tape. There's so many unnecessary regulations. And in many ways, it's definitely not equitable. And if you have the ability to afford an attorney, to have an advisor, you're much better off than someone who has limited resources, maybe limited English ability, limited education. So that's the first thing I'd want to do. I'd want to expand access to capital. Thank you.
Clifton Crosby, 27A. As a former business owner, I can say I never needed help knowing where my next idea was going to come from. It was needing help affording the fees associated with starting a business. I believe that we can lower our starting fees and filing fees in the state of Maryland, but we can also create a small business tax rate, because I don't believe that small business should be taxed the same as billion-dollar companies.
Jason Fowler, State Senate in District 27. So one of the first things that people need to know is that the state of Maryland has either implemented or has modified 338 taxes and fees on businesses in our community. That's a lot. Now, the Malley administration had 84. So, and I know people were complaining during that administration that we were struggling. So we need to review our fees. The second thing that we need to do is we need to install an inspector general to review our spending in Annapolis. There are many businesses that we cannot even track that we're sending money to.
C.T. Wilson, District 28. Firstly, the $300 yearly fee, I actually had put in that bill for several years. Again, I'm not going to give up because a lot of times it's these nuisance fees are what get us because we just forget to pay them or we overlook them and they just stack up. So I'm still going to fight that, as well as making sure we have an IG for a lot of our grants aren't that we fund. Somebody to make sure that the money's actually going where it's supposed to be going and it's being properly spent. If not, we should claw it back.
Okay, one thing that I think, first of all, Aaron Corbin, the first thing that I think is outdated is our tax brackets. We need to make sure that the people at the top are being properly taxed, and hopefully that could ease the tax burden on a lot of us. Also, another thing is not a law that we directly have, but I think that we need to have our own bank in Maryland, and maybe we can offer lower interest rates for businesses, for solar, for mortgages, instead of relying on the federal government. I know that that's been proposed before, and I didn't make it, but that's something that I would fight for if I'm elected.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. So outdated systems, I think one of the things that we be able to look at is, as we figure out our revenue situation in Maryland, when we come up with those solutions, the first thing we should look at is making sure that we call back some of those fees that we put on our businesses, especially our small businesses. And then the commitment piece, absolutely, because I believe that's what we're gonna have, that's the only thing that we're gonna have funding to do, is do basic reviews of what we have done so far so that see what is working and what's not working.
Darrell Odom, again, representing District 27A. I'm in my first year, all right? I'm currently seated, and I will commit to that. I'm committed to it. If there are business owners here that have matters to be addressed and concerns that could help us all, or even I'm not limited to the business owners, community. Because if the community doesn't thrive, the businesses won't thrive. But my door is open to discuss, as well as the chamber itself, because your focus is business. So I'm here to help on that in that event. Thank you.
Delegate Deborah Davis, District 28. I'd like to change it up a little bit. Our dependency on the federal government is something that we're going to have to change, and we've already begun looking into how much we depend on the federal government, because when the federal government changes and when they let us down, then we let our businesses down. So it's really important. Thank you.
John Jones, District 28. State regulations for small business need to be evaluated. I can't point to one in particular, but the idea that they existed in the past means they should exist in the future is not one that I agree with. The idea that we should evaluate all of the state regulations to make sure that they're being applied equitably and they're bringing the revenue to the state that we need is very critical, because without that revenue, it's hard to build the infrastructure to drive the business. So I want to evaluate everything.
Delegate Edith Patterson, District 28. In my work or in my committee, I'm often puzzled and really sort of disheartened by the fact that TEDCO, the opportunity for research and development and earnings and grants for rural communities, are absent. And so my concern is one that I would address and correct by making sure that when we look at the bills and opportunities for infrastructure, for research and development, the opportunities, that we look at rural communities and suburban communities, because we're left out in terms of funding, opportunities, and resources.
I think that the outdated state regulatory system that we have is the overall system we create, where we place an undue burden on small businesses to meet the revenue goals that the General Assembly sets. While we don't need to lower that goal, we need to shift that by lowering tax rates on small businesses and submitting for regulatory review things like the LLC loophole, as well as exploring whether or not combined reporting could make up that shortfall as well.
Hello, I'm James Ashburn, Republican for State Delegate District 28. This was a pretty easy one. Everyone here got an electric bill probably. You got that big Empower. I commit and dedicate my service to getting rid of that stupid Empower thing that's just funding a bunch of bad and corrupt and fraud. They see that. And I also commit to getting rid of the vehicle emissions inspection fee, because we all know that almost everybody's vehicle passes that test, and they jumped it up to $30. It's just another tax. Thank you.
Winfield Clark, Delegate, District 28. One of the state regulatory barriers that I'd want to address is the registration fees for vehicles. Many families have multiple vehicles, they're charged multiple times every year, and we have more and more people commuting. That's something that I would go after and do everything I could to see if we could reduce that. Also going after these corporate tax loopholes and these LLC loopholes and all the red tape that's holding back small businesses from accessing capital. Thank you.
Thank you. This next question, we're going to start with you, Mr. Odom. So we're going on the reverse this way, and then you this way. All right, and then also with this next question, if you could be as specific as possible, try to avoid generalities with this. And many of you have already started on this question, even though we didn't ask it. So this is an opportunity for you to expand on what you've already stated. What bill have you introduced, supported, or partnered on that directly benefits Charles County businesses? Be specific as possible. Mr. Odom?
Well, I'm going to go back to the Darrell Odom representing District 27A. I'm going to go back to what I mentioned about the local bond initiative, or legislative bond initiative. That bill, that bond initiative, is similar to a bill because it's being adopted by law, is to allow a project within 27A that will be an incubator for businesses. It has been allocated a total fund of $325,000, and that will be able to provide training for culinary arts and students as well, and be a location to help veterans and those in the local community.
Delegate Deborah Davis, District 28. I'm going to go back to the Southern Maryland Rapid Transit. We all agree that transportation is really important to our county. It's like we live on an island that nobody wants to come to. So I sponsored that my first year, along with Senator Arthur Ellis, and I'm really excited about that and that it's moving forward. Thank you.
John Jones, candidate, District 28. None, because I am a frosh. I am a freshman political activist. I anticipate if you ask me this question in a few years, I'll be able to tell you something completely different, but right now, none.
So let me make one small edit. The question said supported. So even if you weren't in office, is there a bill that you did support?
Thank you. Can I have a few more seconds? Sure. Thank you. The Decades Act. I'm a scientist. I work in vaccine R&D. I believe that the pipeline from the College of Southern Maryland should have a place that fills up in Southern Maryland.
Delegate Edith Patterson, District 28. I supported and was one of the sponsors for House Bills 798. This is to increase easier access to capital for small, minority, and women-based businesses. This was really important for me. I also voted for the cottage industry funding for small businesses so that farmers or owners can diversify their products. It's really important for us to do that, as well as supporting initiatives for other minority businesses and small businesses.
Evan Smith. The main thing that I've supported is bringing rapid transit to Southern Maryland. Reasons why are obvious, but they include that we need foot traffic in order to keep our businesses healthy, which we can't get with a major state highway that we can't do maintenance on due to it being owned by the state, cutting through most of our communities. That would also bring in outside revenue, not just making Charles County sort of an endemic system, but meaning that people can come down from PG very easily and spend our money here.
Well, I'm James Ashburn, Republican for State Delegate District 28, and I'd like to say I can't think of anything I'd support that they'd sponsored. The year's been so bad for the businesses, and I would be working to repeal.
Winfield Clark, District 28. What I've supported indirectly was all the transit-oriented development funding bills and WMATA operations funding. Listen, the average commute for people in Charles County is 50% higher than the national average, and businesses won't come here if we're gridlocked and they can't move in and out of the county. So I'm definitely a proponent for that. Thank you.
Sean Malden, Delegate District 27A. Listen, folks, I am a business owner and I am also a former mayor. So again, this isn't theory for me, this is practice. This is real live stuff. I've done it before. One of the things I created in the town of Capitol Heights where I served as mayor is I founded the the weekly referral chain, which brought business dollars to the local community. I'll continue to support that type of legislation. Additionally, as I already mentioned, it was echoed, the elimination of the $300 annual fee is ridiculous because it causes businesses to get into bad standing. Let's repeat it.
Attorney Yanel Morley, District 27A. We were all feeling the effects, and many of us are still feeling the effects of job losses, especially at the federal level. The government shut down. We started a group that is still supporting people as a result of that. I advocated very arduously and tirelessly, and I was pleased to see that Governor Moore did provide some small business relief when governments were impacted either by COVID or by the job losses, as well as the government shutdown. So that's something that I've supported many times for any small business.
Clifton Crosby, 27A. I too am a freshman politician, if you will, but I do want to speak on some bills I will support. I do, like I previously said, small business tax rates. I also want to see the state invest more into dual purpose developments in Charles County to foster business growth in our counties. I also want to support the light rail coming to Charles County, something that's been talked about since I was just a little kid. That will bring more foot attraction into the county. And I also want to see us develop a more robust down payment assistance program so that people can actually afford the homes that are being built in Charles County.
Jason Fowler, State Senate in District 27. There was a policy that was in place in the mid-2010s called the Solar Canopy Program. And what this program did was it allowed businesses to get grant money for solar panels in their businesses, on their roofs or in their parking lots. Schlegel Farms, that I'm sure many of you know, a local farm here in Charles, they actually utilized this advantage, and their entirety of their farm operation is run by solar panels that was provided by our state. So that is something that I think we need to continue.
C.T. Wilson, District 28. Well, my time as chair, I created a residential solar business licensing and structure, as well as one for small modular reactors that were both going to be beneficial in Indian Head and Pax River. Additionally, I created the cannabis administration and licensing structure to ensure that if we were going to have cannabis in Maryland, it wasn't going to be bought up by large out-of-state corporations. We have one here, but I think another one coming maybe down south. But again, that's what I've done for the businesses.
Aaron Corbin. I'm also fresh into the politics, so I haven't proposed any bill. But for what I would support, first I would say the blueprint for Maryland education. When I was a kid, I played basketball, and I used to always wonder why my high school looked so run down, and we went to other high schools and they looked so nice. I would love that all kids can have good schools. You don't have to live into the right neighborhoods. Also, the funding for public transit. I want to say I support that too. But Ramada pays my bills, so I don't think my opinion on that issue really matters.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. So the bill that just recently passed, Senate Bill 920, which is my bill, to improve the administration of the small minority women-owned businesses. And it's funded through the video lottery terminal. And what we try to do here, the goal is to help with the operating and capital access for small minority women-owned businesses, and by compensating our fund managers for high costs of underwriting and servicing loans. So that's a bill that I actually sponsored this past year and passed.
Great, thank you very much. All right, this time we're gonna go outside towards me, and then outside towards me. Just trying to mix it up a little bit, y'all. All right, here's your question. How will you collaborate with local government, including the Board of County Commissioners, to support small business growth and economic stability? So again, how will you collaborate with local government, including the Board of County Commissioners, to support small business growth and economic stability?
Winfield Clark, Delegate District 28. So I think the first thing we need to understand is what the strategy is behind small business development. I want to collaborate with them to understand what small businesses are coming forward, where do they want to be planted. Then the other thing is to provide them with coaching. A lot of our small business owners don't know what they don't know, but we have the expertise right at this county to make those businesses fruitful. So let's give them what they need to be successful right out of the gate. instead of letting them go for it and fall on their faces.
Well, I'm James Ashburn, Republican for State Delegate, District 28. Well, I'd like to collaborate with the local government for data centers because a lot of local governments, they don't understand data centers and they think that they can't be done correctly or they don't know the rules to put on a data center to restrict the sound, the water usage. They're all things you can do, have a data center and give the county some revenue that we need while making sure that the sound doesn't go off of their property. Thank you.
Evan Smith. As the delegate, for better or for worse, I can't control what the county commissioners can do, but I can bring in state funds. And so what that would mean is, it's kind of an unanswered question, but I would definitely make sure that I'm listening to residents in order to make sure that whatever state funds I'm bringing in are being spent responsibly. That the Sears Center is something's actually being done with that we're actually breaking ground on rapid transit, that things are actually happening, not just study after study in limbo.
Delegate Edith Patterson, District 28. We're already doing some of this with the state, with the counties as well, through the EARN program and through the Maryland MEP, which is for rural communities. In this way, we're working with public-private partnerships. Right now, the state awarded $5.2 million to areas. Unfortunately, we are lumped in with Calvert, Charleston, St. Mary's, and so we only got a portion of that monies. So we have to work really hard to make sure that our initiatives and our partnerships are sound and solid because the funds are there.
John Jones, candidate for District 28. For small government, small business, and local government, we can't, again, dictate what they do. But one of the keys that is important is not just bringing dollars into the area, but making sure that we're holding the people that those dollars go to accountable. Coming up with metrics for success, not just driving dollars into the area, but making sure those dollars are going to something tangible, making sure that we're actually seeing progress, and also want to make sure that we're an active ear for the community. When the small business brings up a concern, we hear them, and also want to create a feedback loop for the dollars that come into, making sure that dollars that come to our small businesses stay in our hands as long as possible.
Delegate Deborah Davis, I will continue to regularly meet with county officials and make sure that we're on the same page and that they're aware of benefits that we can bring down from the state. I work against unfunded mandates. It's a big deal for every jurisdiction in the entire state. And I will help support local legislation that the county wants to put forth to help small businesses. Thank you.
Delegate Darrell Odom, representing District 27A. When I was a kid, I loved these kind of questions because the answer is in the question. Collaboration is really the answer to your question. And I'll say this by saying that I am willing to reach out to each commissioner. And we have a common cause here in economic stability. So I'm certain that there will be an interest on their side of the table as well as an interest on mine. And my goal will be trying to find funding or any legislation if needed to address the capability of increasing our economic stability in Charles County.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. Great question, simple answer. And that is, key is to keep the main thing the main thing. And in this case, the main thing here is to ensure that we are doing right for Charles County and doing right for the businesses. So, collaborating with all leaders that are in Charles County to ensure that we are doing what's right for our constituents at the end of the day. I think at this point, it's time for us to get away from being in our little silos and our little cliques and come together as one Charles County.
Okay, so the way that I do this is by being accessible to Charles County, making sure to keep the relationship, which is something that I've already started doing, meeting with the candidates at the county level, making sure that I know that how things that we propose at the state level, how it'll affect the county, and then listening to the county, seeing if there's anything that we can bring to the state level. So I think collaborating, checking in, making sure to keep that relationship moving.
CT Wilson, they all have my cell number. And anybody who gets elected, if I get elected, will also have my cell number. Additionally, Team 28, the delegates and the senators do meet with our commissioners on a regular basis to discuss that. Again, they do have to be open to talking to us as well, like the data center issue and the horrible issue with grid reliability and infrastructure issues that they're bringing, because they, again, went forward, even though at the state level we've been trying to push back and stop these data centers from flooding in and damaging not only our environment, but our ability to pay for our energy bills. But again, they're open, I'm open, because we meet officially and can always meet offline.
Jason Fowler, State Senate, District 27. We need partnerships that begin now. If you are in office or you're seeking office, you need to be regularly meeting with people that are going to also hopefully be in the same positions. In the room tonight, I see Brenda Thomas, I see James Wade, I see Diota Sweat, even Delegate Patterson's got a son running too, I think, for District 4. So I think it's important that we start those partnerships early and keep the communication up, because in Annapolis, we are going to make sure that we bring home dollars at the request of the commissioners and at the request of the citizens that they serve.
Clifton Crosby, Delegate 27A. As a former Senate leader, my job was to teach college students how to be a legislator. One of the only rules that I gave them is that there's never a time that a bill should hit the floor and the people that it impacts didn't hear about it or approve of it. My legislative philosophy thrives on collaboration, and I plan on continuing that as the next delegate.
Attorney Yanel Morley, District 27A, and for me it's not a matter of establishing, it's continuing. I've already created those relationships, and in some cases they're years long. I am a big believer in local control, and when I say we have what we need in Charles County, I mean exactly that. We're one of the wealthiest counties. It's a matter of how we utilize our resources, and when you have the relationships with people, when you have the right people at the table, when you bring all the stakeholders, including the Chamber of Commerce, including the school system, including the local businesses, you bring everyone to the table that has a say and will have an impact on any decisions.
Malden, Delegate 27A. It's simple. We really have to start regularly meeting with our local levels and our state levels. That means bringing the folks that need to be together to the table. I served as mayor, and while serving as mayor, I also was elected as the Maryland Black Mayor's president for the entire state of Maryland. I think these relationships that I've built over the years will serve me well to continue that collaborative work. And also, I think it's important that we stay focused on what's most important across all, and that's bringing the prices down that Marylanders are experiencing.
Thank you. Delegate Patterson, you are going to be leading the pack on this next question. We're going to go from you down to Harris and then back on this corner. Okay. All right, here comes the hot topic. Charles County businesses report that the lack of affordable housing directly impacts workforce development and retention, and the state comptroller has tied housing availability to overall economic prosperity. How do you define affordable housing, and what specific actions will you take to increase housing availability in Charles County? Can you remember all that?
Well, yeah, I think I had 30 seconds. Am I counting? No. Thank you very much. Edith Patterson, District 28. Let me just say this. The word, whether it's workforce, affordable housing, etc., the main thing is to get the community to not be a NIMBY. We as legislators and policymakers can do whatever we can, but we have to have your support. I've been through this before, and certainly we passed this session House Bill 85 and House Bill 571, which says that affordable housing is available for our citizens. But don't be a NIMBY, please. Not in my backyard.
Kind of get my mic back on. It was Delegate Patterson, then you. We're going all this way. When Kevin finishes, then we're coming back this way.
Okay. Affordable housing and fulfilling the affordable housing that we currently already have. We have a lot of lots that are sitting vacant. The pricing that we have to deal with for a lot of the housing is governed by a lot of the large corporations that are managing the properties. Taking more control of the businesses that we partner with to build the housing and eliminating a lot of the loopholes that allow for some of these corporations to buy up the properties to artificially drive up costs.
Thank you. Delegate Deborah Davis from District 28. So we all know that affordable housing is not only a statewide issue, it's a countrywide issue. One thing we probably need to do is make sure that we support the small businesses so we can have some higher salaries within the county. And always look to see what other states are doing and what other counties are doing. And one thing we did just recently was that we passed the accessory dwelling unit law, which requires every county to set up, what do you call it? Let me finish what it is. To set up codes as far as how you can have an accessory dwelling on your property. And that's one of the ways that other people are relieving the affordability crisis. Thank you.
This is really, I'm sorry again. Delegate Darrell Odom, District 27A. This is a challenging question because affordable housing is plaguing, as just been stated, the entire country. It's plaguing veterans who serve their country having affordable homes, and it's plaguing each and every American. So I think that how I define it would be that we can have people of all age groups. First starter homes, people, we need to try to aid them in getting into their first homes and make sure that those that are presently living are in conditions that are suitable and they can remain living at a good rate.
I want to be respectful. I don't quite remember the question, but let me say this. I think that we really have to make sure that we are also being careful with people being able to stay in their houses. We always talk about affordable housing. Right now, what I'm hearing at the door is not another townhome popping up over here and popping up over there. Not another crowded congestion. What we need to make sure is that folks are able to afford to stay in their houses. So that means making sure that we're providing them with the tax credits that they need. Some folks can be auto-enrolled in tax credit programs, the Homestead Act, if they are known about. Right? I've done this work before as mayor. I'll continue.
Attorney Yanel Morley, District 27A. I'm fortunate to serve on the state, local, and national level, and this is something that is absolutely not just unique to us. First and foremost, we need to protect the people that serve us. Our teachers, our firefighters, our first responders, they, above everyone else, should be getting tax credits. They shouldn't have to worry about losing their homes. I want to see more eviction protection, especially as an attorney. I've been blessed to be able to help many people stay in their homes, to not have to worry about losing their home because of loss of job or loss of opportunity. I also believe in tax incentives as well.
Okay, Clifton Crosby, 27A. As someone who's on the housing market right now, I know that firsthand the biggest decider of someone becoming a homeowner is whether or not they have a down payment large enough to afford their mortgage. Having a robust down payment assistance program over the next 4 years is going to be crucial, especially when we're talking about boosting industries that need help with recruitment, like education, emergency services, and healthcare. We can also target low interest loan programs for young people who are coming out of college, because we need to lower the average age of home ownership in the state of Maryland, because it's slowly creeping towards 45 and not 25.
Jason Fowler, State Senate, District 27. Housing should cost anywhere from 25 to 30% of your take-home pay. You've all heard that adage. So if you're making minimum wage here in Maryland, you're making $2,500 a month, which means that you should have an apartment that costs $625. Has anybody got that? That's the problem. We are not building enough affordable housing for people to live here. The youngest demographic of our people, from 18 to 35, they are fleeing this state because they can't afford to live here. That's the problem.
C.T. Wilson, District 28. First of all, we have to do something about these corporate hedge funds that are purchasing all of these single-family homes turn them into rentals because they're making it unaffordable for people to buy. But secondly, I've got to be very important. I'm here for the people that currently live in Charles County. Every time you talk about building another house, if we don't have the infrastructure and we don't have the jobs, where are they going to go? Where are they going to go to school? What kind of water are they going to have? Don't overcrowd this county until we have the resources. Because right now, all they're going to do is have to drive into DC with us or drive into Prince George with us. We can't keep doing that until we have the resources. Otherwise, we got to slow that down.
Aaron Corbin. I'm originally from California, so all the houses out here are affordable to me. However, one thing that I would do is make sure that our housing vouchers and programs are going to the right people. I've been a landlord. I've had tenants who work hard and struggle to pay rent that I work with, and they're not getting approved for vouchers. And I've had tenants who get approved for vouchers, and they have Hellcats and 24-inch rims in their driveway, and they pay $100 for rent. So if we can make sure that the programs are getting to the right people, I think that would really help.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. I will continue to do what I have been doing for the first 4 years. The first year in the House of Delegates, when I was the delegate for 27A, my first bond bill for $500,000 was to go towards building workforce housing right here in Charles County. The second thing I will continue to do is ensure that our renters be able to stay in their homes. One of the bills that I did 2 years ago was to do a workforce, rent court process. My time is up. A rent court process, which allows a renter who goes to court, can't pay their rent, they go straight to a resource officer right in the courthouse to get them what they need.
Winfield Clark, Delegate District 28. There's many layers to this. We need to get to the root cause, but I think first, I agree, we need to take control of the housing development. Developers are out of control and we're outbuilding our infrastructure. But we also need to bring industry here that will create jobs and bring revenue to these small businesses. Right now, some of those small business owners are living in affordable housing because they're struggling.
I'm James Ashburn, Republican for State Delegate District 28. I'm sure everybody knows here, Charles County is considered a bedroom community. And the affordability crisis for people to live is not in Charles County. It's in Prince George's, it's in DC, it's in Montgomery County, it's in all these places where people come down. We're building houses like there's no tomorrow over here, way too many. But these people they're not originally from here, and I'm not against people coming here, but when you're putting in 10,000 houses and the people don't live here, we don't have the affordability problem, even though we have the cheapest rent in town, as they say.
My name is Evan Smith. As I understand it, the question was, how do you define affordable housing? I think that there's two parts to answer that question. There's the housing, making the housing we build affordable, and making sure the housing we have is affordable. For answering the former, we need to empower the housing authority. Charles County Housing Authority is one of the weakest in the entire state. It doesn't even have its own webpage. We need to be making sure that that is actually a real thing that has any sort of teeth. And for making sure the housing we have is affordable, we need to be putting a leash on private equity and putting a leash on developers, making sure that it's not artificially inflating all these prices.
All right, well, with all that, this question is going to be fun. All right, so once again, we're going to mix it up. Let's make it confusing for everybody. Delegate Wilson, you're going to start this one if you don't mind, and we're going to head towards me. So smart growth, responsible growth are things that our businesses need in order for them to grow. And a review of a recent Planning Commission report shows that both commercial and residential growth in Charles County has remained relatively flat. So what strategies at the state level would you implement to incentivize investment in our region? So again, what strategies would you implement to incentivize investment in our region?
Again, CT Wilson, I'll go back to my prior statement that again, until we have necessary schools, the first thing I would invest in is a rapid bus transit system, something I'll see at least before my great-great-grandkids die, because we're not going to see the light rail no time soon. But investing in some kind of transportation system, again, it's going to remain flat until we can get in and out of this county or build more jobs in this county. So we have to have the transportation necessary and the infrastructure before we can continue to grow, or we're just punishing the people that currently live here.
Jason Fowler, State Senate, District 27. I think to incentivize growth in the region, we need to make sure that we are creating the building blocks that create it. Again, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but half of our residents don't have broadband services, don't have internet that actually functions the way it should. How are businesses supposed to relocate to an area and work remotely or work at home if people don't have internet services? So we need to do that. In addition to that, we need to create incentives for businesses to hire local and hire locally from the College of Southern Maryland out of our CTE programs.
Clifton Crosby, 27A delegate. I think the best way we can incentivize investment is showing developers that from the state level, we're serious about the proper development of Charles County, especially when we're talking about developing multi-purpose and higher quality infrastructure in this area. I think when we look at why people call this a sleeper county is because we take so much of our dollars into Northern Virginia and DC. If we're serious about having investors come in, we need to have the state equally having skin in the game into these investments, into these developments, so that developers know that we're serious and we don't want just another gas station and chicken shop. We need to have real infrastructure here that fosters business development.
Yanel Morley, District 27A. We have over $16 billion worth of economic impact in our area in Southern Maryland, and much of that is right here in Charles County. We already have the incentives. It's a matter of advertising them. It's a matter of letting people know what we have to offer and making sure that they feel welcome, that they know that they can grow their businesses here, that we have strong schools, that they can afford to live here. So I think it's a matter of how we package what we already have and encourage people to come here. Very often people overlook Southern Maryland, and they really do sleep on Southern Maryland. We have a lot to offer.
Malden, Delegate 27A. Yes, we do have great things here, but we have a problem. We have a problem with our school system. We're number 12 out of 34. Our District 27A also covers Prince George's County, 23 out of 24. We have a problem. Before we can bring businesses to this area, we have to show that we are worthy of those businesses. As a mayor, we did this sort of work to attract businesses into our community. And the way that we did it is by improving our police system, public safety, but we also did it by showing that we are a place where you can grow and be with us. Infrastructure has to be improved so that can happen. I see my time is up.
Well,
Delegate Darrell Odom, representing 27A. I didn't catch the entire question, but I know you mentioned smart growth and responsible growth. And I think that the county is already developing a far-reaching plan in terms of the next 25 years where they're going to, I think in order to address it, we have to make sure that we look at where the commercial growth is actually needed within the county and focus there and look at where we need to conserve other land for other development. So it's just, that would be what I would think would be smart growth.
the bell got used. I'm so glad. I thank you, actually, because otherwise it would have sat there and never used, so well done. I sure can. I'll just do the last part. What strategies at the state level would you implement to incentivize investment in our region?
Okay, Delegate Deborah Davis, I need to address the smart growth or the growth going flat. We hear all the time that Charles County is overbuilding, and I just need to, as a former commissioner, I just need to address that this is the planned urban development district that was funded in 1973 that you know very well of. It is at the end. It is at the end that the growth in, we're not going to see much more in our development district. And so we have to grow from within. We need to support the businesses in the county and start growing from within. Thank you.
John Jones, candidate for District 28. To incentivize investment in our region, we have to make sure that the businesses and the opportunities we want in the region know about our talent base. I hate to use this analogy, but if you look at some of the top athletes in the world, and some of the most professional sports, they do not go to the University of Maryland. They take from our counties, they grow in our counties, they grow in our areas, and then they take their talents elsewhere. I want to make sure that our talent that grows in Southern Maryland has a place to call home. And I want to make sure that those businesses and those corporations know that the talent is here. So marketing our talent.
Delegate Edith Patterson, District 28. I'm going to respond by saying that we have the Delegate Act, which is an act that we passed in the legislation and was one of the governor's priorities. And that act, or those bills, are designed to make Maryland and in turn Charles County more competitive. And so with that in mind, we have funds set aside to build our future grants. And this is for high areas where we have the high growth areas. Right now, Charles County has not really taken advantage of that because, for whatever reason, but we still need to take advantage of the Delegate Act.
The question was asked, what strategies would you implement at the state level? I think that obviously public transit has been mentioned, but one thing that hasn't been mentioned is mixed use zoning. We need to make sure that, why does the growth feel bad? It's because it hasn't been done responsibly, like mentioned. But this growth, the growth needs to be focused inward and made to be done more responsibly. We can't be just building suburban hell where everything is super hard to access. We have all these arterials that are overloaded, all of that. We need to make sure that our communities are healthy, that our communities are affordable, but also that our communities are accessible, not just by cars and parking lots and all that. We need to look better too.
James Ashburn, Republican for State Delegate, District 28. The first thing we need to do to incentivize growth in our county is honestly the opposite of what you think. It's a moratorium on any more residential development. I mean, we've outgrown the roads, we've outgrown everything. Right now, Route 5 and 301 is a disaster to ride up. They need to build the flyovers like they have on 210, which allows you to drive up 210 without hitting a light every 6 feet. And much of our roads taxes go to mass transit. We need to fix that.
Thank you. Winfield Clark, Delegate District 28. Okay, I agree. We don't need another chicken spot or a big box beauty store. Absolutely not. But we need to be strategic and not desperate in terms of our business offerings and focus on what we need and where there's a gap. Investors want 3 things. They want to see talent, they want access, and they want to see efficiency. That comes with a mindset change. Rapid transportation, yes, but let's elevate the performance of local businesses, make customer service our strength here in Charles County through business coaching. I want to rival Montgomery County. We have everything we need to do it.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. Strategies that we need to utilize from a state level, and I'm still the answer that my colleague, Delegate Patterson mentioned, is we need to implement in Charles County the things that we have already done in the state. We need to take advantage of all the money that we provided in the state and make sure it's provided here in the county. I don't think we need to do anything additional or new. We actually just need to utilize what we actually already provided and make sure that those things are doing what we need to do to renew and reboot the areas in Charles County.
Aaron Corbin, I think the biggest thing that we could do is work on the transportation. Every time that I try to get people to come down to Southern Maryland from different parts of Maryland, they put it in their GPS and say that they're not making that drive. So if we can reduce the amount of time it takes to get to Southern Maryland, I think that would incentivize a lot of businesses to invest in this area.
C.T. Wilson, District 28. I think obviously one of the most important things we need to remember is Indian Head. That's where our Western Charles County Tech Corridor is. We've been working, putting money down there for our startups for drone tech and warfighter technology. And we cannot forget, we have to protect that. We have to invest in it, lest the feds take it away. I don't want that fat rascal closing nothing else in Maryland. And I really need to make sure that we protect Indian Head. So we have to invest to make sure that these businesses are, surviving and flourishing.
I was like, I'm not going to it.
Right. But we could just keep going. Okay. Okay, so this next round of question is about education and workforce pipeline. This time we're going to start with Mr. Ashburn. I can't be too creative about the order, so we're just going to keep going, keep going this way. I'm getting ready to tell you. Yeah, just going with the order. Given concerns about unfunded mandates under the Blueprint for Maryland's Future, how will you support local school systems in meeting these requirements without compromising financial stability?
Yeah, everyone knows I'm James Ashburn, I'm a Republican running for state delegate. First thing I would do, the Blueprint for Maryland is a disaster. It needs to be repealed. The state keeps pushing all these mandates on the counties and not funding them. And most counties will tell you in the state that they're overwhelmed with the cost. The results is mostly they've hired about 25% more people, all administrative, and it's not working for the state. There's plenty of money being spent, and we need to focus on it. That's why we have these structural deficits going on for years and years and years. Thank you.
Evan Smith. We can't abandon our schools, so we do need that money. But how are we going to spend it responsibly? Well, for the one part, we do need to have audits going on. We need to make sure that that money is being spent responsibly without adding more onto it and just assuming that throwing more money at it isn't going to solve the problem. The other thing that I would suggest is that we need to make sure that there's a maximum ratio in terms of how much the administration wages are versus the educator wages are. We need to make sure that our teachers are well paid if they're going to do a good job. But if the administration of all these schools is receiving a ton of money while the teachers are getting nothing, it's obviously going to lead to bad outcomes.
Delegate Edith Patterson, District 28. I love the Blueprint for Maryland's Future. I voted on it for the past 5 years that we've had it in place. It's wonderful because it is addressing a need that has not been done before, and that is to look at CTEs. Not just for those students who are going to college, but those who are planning on going into careers. It offers partnerships. The other is the Earn Maryland program. This is state money where we work with colleges and institutions in terms of public partnerships to make sure that those positions that are not filled, healthcare technology, are offered through partnerships. Earn Maryland 2026.
John Jones, candidate for State Delegate District 28. For the mandates, some of those unfunded mandates, there's a lot of money being poured into education. When I run my labs, when I'm in my operations mode, I have to look at the expenditures and make sure that we're getting a return on investment on those expenses, and then also make sure we're holding people accountable for the money that they're being given. If we give you $100,000 for something, what was the outcome? What was the positive effect of that? And if we're not getting those positive effects, we need to evaluate your budget and reallocate those funds. Also, we want to really minimize administrative overhead. Too much money has been spent on administration.
Delegate Deborah Davis, Democrat for delegate. We must continue to support education. We've got to support, and that directly supports our workforce pipeline. It's important, and it's really important that we continue to fund our priorities. And education should always be our priority. Thank you.
Can I get you to repeat that question?
Absolutely. Given concerns about unfunded mandates under the Blueprint for Maryland's Future, how will you support local school systems in meeting these requirements without compromising financial stability?
I, Darrell Odom, delegate representing District 27A. I'll be the first to admit I'm not an educator. I've worked in public safety all my life, as well as in the military. I think the greatest problem that we have is educating our youth. And it's been mentioned about career technology education programs. They need to be enhanced. I was president of an organization, nonprofit, Coalition for Public Safety Training in Schools, where we were trying to incentivize youth to go in public safety careers and make available avenues for them to succeed besides going to college.
Malden, Delegate 27A. As mayor, I made sure that a $1 million TOD project right in our town was not coming unless they earmarked certain money within that budget. So essentially what we're calling on a state level, county level, impact fees. So we talk about building and development. We need to make sure that they have also included these impact fees that are directly and specifically tied to making sure that all of our education is clearly funded. I support the fully funding of our blueprint. Here's the thing, I am an educator and teach American Sign Language interpreting, and I believe strongly that we need to support our students and our schools completely, and the CTEs.
Yanel Morley, District 27A, is the only person here running in this race that's actually served in education on the state, local, and national levels. You have to understand education. You can't speak on what you don't understand. I fully support the blueprint. I fully support local control. And I also support the fact that when you take a holistic look at our education system, we have one of the strongest education systems in the country. The issue is not the blueprint. The issue is implementation. The issue for many people is the flexibility for the local districts to be able to do what's best for their district. That's the issue.
Clifton Crosby, Delegate 27A. I think we all know that we're breaking records in educational funding, but we aren't breaking records in student retention, we're not breaking records in student attendance, and the list can go on. I think that we do need to fund the blueprint, but we also need to make sure that that funding is going into systems that yield results inside the classroom. We need to make sure that educational support staff have a livable wage so that teachers can get the support they need in the classroom. We need to invest in supplemental educational programs so that students can have support outside of just their standard day learning, like tutoring or summer programs, to actually see them succeed in the classroom.
Jason Fowler, District 27 for State Senate. I do believe that we need to fund the Maryland Blueprint. It's about supporting our educators. It's also about supporting living wages for those people that are in the classroom. And by the way, it does not include support staff. It's only for teachers in terms of that pay. But we also have to look at our budgets of what we're spending in education. I have children in schools. I have a kindergartner that was given a Chromebook. It's millions and millions of dollars. And when you look at studies, it shows that the retention is not there when we're using these Chromebooks. So why are we wasting millions of dollars on things that do not work?
C.T. Wilson, District 28. Obviously, I do support the blueprint. I do think we need to have more of an independent audit of them yearly to make sure that we can adapt when things aren't working, because what works in Charles County might not work in Prince George's County, to make sure that the money's going where they're supposed to be going, that we don't have this administrative overhead that we all fear. But I don't want to ever forget that our schools are important. Even if you don't have children in schools, understand the two things that people look at when they purchase a home are what? Crime and schools. So even if you don't have kids in school, I want you to know we have to support our children, not just for their sake, but for ours.
Aaron Corbin. So today I have my Juris Doctorate, but when I was a child, I actually did not good in school at all. And my family struggled. So I could have had the best school ever, and I still wouldn't have did well. So I do support the blueprint, but I think a huge key to success is making sure that we're investing into the economy, making sure that we're getting those rental programs to the right people, because at the end of the day, if the school system is really great, but we can't get the kids there, or the parents aren't getting the kids there, or there's other problems in the system, it doesn't matter. We're not going to have the success what we want.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. It's a great question, and I also hate the question. And the reason why is because I don't know why we want to always attack education when there's a money issue. We should actually be adding money to the education system. A strong education system provides a strong community. A strong community provides strong businesses in the area. We got to keep in mind, the blueprint is not a microwave. It's an oven. Let it simmer, let it bake, give it time.
All right, Winfield Clark, District 28 Delegate. So what do you say to the single mother who's got a job in DC and needs to be there before 8, but can't drop her kids off early enough to get there? The opportunity is bigger than just funding. But I want to say this, education is a long game. I think we need to be strategic about how we apply the funds. Blueprint is a great foundation, but we need now, the next step is alignment between what the school system teaches, workforce development programs and employers so that we can create an ecosystem that provides a straight line for graduates to their entry-level job when they get out? Are we educating them for the jobs that are available in this county? And are we working together and our employers bought in on that strategy?
Excellent. All right, for this one, we're going to go every third person. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Delegate Davis, you mentioned your party affiliation, so I'm going to start with you because this question, given the polarized environment we're in, how would you work across party lines to pass policies that support economic growth and long-term sustainability? So how would you work across party lines to pass policies that support economic growth and long-term stability? And we'll go that way to my left.
The legislature is like Delegate Deborah Davis, District 28. The legislature is all about building relationships. You don't get anywhere, you don't get anything done unless you build relationships. I will continue to build relationships. And the best opportunity to do that is in our committees. We have, in our committees, we build relationships, we work together all the time to hear the other side and to figure out where we can meet in the middle. So that's what I would do.
No, I'm no, totally kidding. I think all of our heads would explode, so don't worry about
it. John Jones, candidate for District 28 State Delegate. Working across the aisle is acknowledging that we're all trying to get the same thing. Everyone wants the same things. Everyone wants safety, everyone wants good education, everyone wants a tax burden that leads to things that come back to them.
I think it's
okay, give it a second. Thank you. So acknowledging that we're different in our objective is something that we run into now because we think that we're all looking for different things. We're not. So reaching across the aisle should be about a shared objective, finding commonality, finding common ground.
Delegate Edith Patterson, District 28. I love this question as well because for the past 5 years, I've served as chair of the Southern Maryland delegation, which is Charles, Calvin, and St. Mary's, and certainly we vote across the aisles and we work across the aisles because we have common goals, and that is to look at what's best for our districts. When we are on the floor voting, if there are district members from the Eastern Shore, from Western Maryland, and they have an issue, whether it's duck hunting or bear hunting or whatever, and it's not germane to what we're doing here, we support them because we are all here for one Maryland.
In case anyone forgot, I'm Evan Smith. I think when it comes to working across party lines, obviously the point could be made that the legislature's had a habit of Democrats just kind of passing whatever they wanted. I don't think that that is a viable strategy for the long term because you don't end up working with the representation from different areas. So you need to take note of how Republicans have appealed to real problems and work to address those same problems. Maybe not by the same strategies, but everybody has the same problems. They need to be addressed regardless of who you're working with.
James Ashburn, Republican for State Delegate, District 28. Working across the aisle, it's interesting. There's supermajorities for Democrats in both houses. They've overrode Governor Moore, who's not exactly Mr. Liberal. 17 vetoes overrode him. So we would like to work with the Democratic supermajority, but many times they only listen when it's like tampons from the men's bathroom, condoms for kiddies, things like that. That's when we can have an effect. But most of the stuff, they just run roughshod over everybody and do whatever they want, even the governor. Thank you.
Yeah, let's turn it down a little bit, please.
Winfield Clark, Delegate District 28. Listen, the challenges in Charles County aren't Democrat or Republican challenges. And our residents, they don't have time for partisan gridlock. There's a hard line between the parties, but it's time to tear that down and work together, okay? And what that takes is a mindset change, and this is the time for it. And what we need to do is an inventory of skill sets and resources to figure out how we can collaborate across parties to reach the same goal. to bring the right businesses here, to elevate Charles County, and to make it a place we want to work, play, and grow.
Great, thank you.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. I'm gonna be the honest one on the group. So obviously it's a super majority Democratic Party in the House and the Senate. Working across the aisle is another delegate, another Democrat for me. And if I look to the left or the right, it's another Democrat. I say that for this reason here, right? Is that we are elected to ensure that we do what's right for the entire state of Maryland and for our counties and for the areas that we live in. And so if that means that we have to work with our colleagues, great. But if they don't want to come on board with us, great. I wanted that colleague. That's why I kept going.
Well done.
Aaron Corbin. I did choose that I'm a Democrat. I actually hate the Democrat versus Republican thing because I feel like sometimes people start only supporting the views that go along with their party, even if the view is, a good bill or something like that. So I actually have a family member who is a Republican, and I learned to get through to him, lack of a better phrase, talk a little slower, break down, I guess, the idea behind the view. And sometimes if you guys have that respectful debate back and forth, you can find that common ground.
C.T. Wilson, Delegate 28. My best friend up there is a Republican. His name is Bill Folden. In fact, when he turned 51, I released 51 crickets into his office and had to pay a hefty fine. I've always reached across the aisle. I'm a very moderate Democrat. When I was a chair, I let my Republican colleagues know this bill may pass, but put your teeth print on it. Because at the end of the day, if you silence the voice of any minority, they become a problem. And so I'm all about making sure everyone has a voice. Again, I will always reach across the aisle. Matt Morgan, Mark Fisher, they are my friends. We might not always agree, but we'll find a happy medium as long as we try real hard, we're honest.
Jason Fowler, State Senate, District 27. So the first thing I would say is that I have Republicans and Independents and Democrats on my team. So I do that now. The second thing I'll say is when I ran for office the first time, Mike Miller sat me down before he put me on his slate and said, if you're going to do this job, you need to work with Republicans. And then so I put Republicans on my staff and he said, no, not that much. But what's important is making sure that we are working across the aisle. Even with the supermajority, there are issues that affect people in our district, irrespective of whether they're Republicans or Democrats, and I commit to doing that in office.
Clifton Crosby, Delegate 27A. Again, my legislative philosophy thrives on collaboration. And contrary belief, I don't believe that one party has a stronghold on good ideas. I got into legislation because I do believe that objectively good ideas and objectively good policy exist. So I will work with anybody, no matter what your party is, if it means that we're passing objectively good policy.
Yanel Morley, District 27A. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It doesn't matter to me what your designation is. It's, are you fundamentally a good person? I don't have to agree with you to respect your right to feel how you feel, as long as you're respectful. And that is my one line. And I don't allow anyone to cross that. You can feel however you feel, you can address it to me, just remain respectful. I don't believe that anyone should be silenced because they're not in agreement with the majority. I respect your right to feel how you want to feel, to say what you want to say. Sometimes the answer is no. I stand where I stand, I respect where you stand.
Malden, Delegate 27A. So, you may know this, you may not. I am originally from Alabama. So let me tell you this. I have all sorts of people, not only the teachers that I value dearly to this day, still get advice from, but also in my family. And so you learn how not to be so polarized. But we still must remain true to what's going to be in the best interest of our community, and I still stand firm in that. Even as I was mayor, I had to learn how to work with various people from all various backgrounds. I'll continue to do that in the delegation.
War Eagle or Roll Tide?
Roll Tide, baby.
No! Get him out of here. All right. Last one right here.
Delegate Darrell Odom, representing 27A. I chalk it up with respect because in my public safety career, in my military career, we had a mission to do. And I don't think I've ever once asked, what party are you in? You know, what are your beliefs on? What is this? You get to learn people when you work with them. And if you have a goal that you got to achieve and you set on achieving that goal, those things don't matter. But you have to have a mutual respect among those of you that you're serving.
All right, so we started a little late, so we're probably going to run just a few minutes long because I'm going to drop a bomb and I'm going to let you guys answer it real quickly. This is going to be a rapid fire question. It's my last question. Because it's rapid fire, we're going to start at that end and just work our way down. You don't have to introduce yourself for this one. You're welcome. But you've got 10 seconds to answer this question. Ready? Here we go. Oh, it's going to be quick. This is just for this one. This is my last one. Here we go. Ready? Yeah, no, but we're talking like, this is like right there and there. All right, so this is real quick. Again, dropping a bomb. You don't get a lot of time to explain. Ready? Here you go. Are you for or against data centers in Southern Maryland?
Against.
Okay.
I am for data centers as long as we put in the proper environmental protections to make sure that we don't have any, I guess, strain on utility.
This 1 gigawatt data center I'm definitely against. It's not going to help our environment. It's definitely going to destroy our energy bills.
Against data centers.
I'm a cybersecurity professional. I'm 100% against data centers. We don't need them.
Against, I have serious environmental concerns, and very often they're put in the neighborhoods that can least afford the impacts.
I'm against data centers.
We need to do some investigation, but I'm against data centers.
I'm against data centers.
I voted for Senate Bill 116, which looks at data centers for analysis, and I believe you cannot make a decision without having analysis.
Against, as a rule. I've talked to the International Brotherhood of Electricians, but that's where I stand at the moment.
I'm for data centers. There's 250 acres down in Morgantown with a power plant that needs to be turned back on for dues for us.
I'm for data centers if they create jobs and we can still protect the environment.
Thank you. Oh, yes. Are you for or against data centers? Real quick. Just shout it out.
I am against data centers holistically without knowing the full aspect and proper driver.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Last question. The order will be based on the volume left in your water bottles from most to least. This is 30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds. Okay, so we're going to make this easy. Well, actually, no, we're not. Yanel, you first for this one. What do you see as the role of the Chamber of Commerce, and how should it partner with state leaders to support economic development?
Yanel Morley, 27A. The Chamber of Commerce I see as the storehouse for all businesses. It's the place where business owners can come to network, to get training, to get support, to increase their workforce. And I firmly believe that the Chamber is a necessary partner, and that is what I would want to expand on, to build on the coalitions I've already established, to build on the relationships that I've already established. I'm looking for people not just to help me get elected, but to help me actually govern, and to be the experts that can provide the insight that I need.
Clifton Crosby, Delegate 27A. I think that the Chamber of Commerce are our subject matter experts on the state of business in any given county and at the state level, because we do have a state Chamber of Commerce. I think as delegate, we need to listen. When I do my research and I look at the state Chamber of Commerce, the things that they're saying are very different from what we're hearing from our politicians. They talk about tax competitiveness. They talk about how we're losing revenue. We're talking about how we're losing population, how that's losing business in itself. We need to listen to our state Chamber of Commerce, just not acknowledge that they exist.
Jason Fowler, State Senate, District 27. Just like we should listen to teachers in the classrooms, just like we should listen to police and firemen in their jobs, we should also listen to business people. I run a small business, I run more than one small business, and when I talk to other business people in our Chamber of Commerce, I know that each and every one of them is reliant on their bills being paid that month and what comes in the door. And when we're talking about business development, these are our experts. So I will take every bit of advice that I hear from businesses and implement that as a state senator.
Delegate C. Wilson, the role of the chamber is to show up. Okay, as a chair, the most frustrating thing I saw was very few people from the business community showing up. The labor had it out in force. And it's frustrating to see because for me, it can't just be me fighting for the businesses. We need business, and not just the Chamber of Commerce reps, but your people. They can sign up on Zoom. You've got to show up because I'm tired of them thinking, number one, that black folks don't own businesses, because we do. But you don't see that in Annapolis. There's this misgiving that we're just employees, and that is not true. So my thing, your role is to actually show up and make sure that they know your voice is out there and important.
All right, Aaron Corbin, one last time. And I think it's an important part of being a good leader is to make sure that you have the right people surrounding you. You know that you don't know everything, but you get the right resources and rely on the right people. So I see the Chamber of Commerce as a resource to check in on what we can do for small businesses and what insight, what things that we can bring to Annapolis.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. Piggybacking a little bit on what Delegate C.T. Wilson mentioned, the key here is when we're in session, we're only in session for 90 days. That means we have 9 months to actually do the work and figure out the answers with our chamber. And so that's the time where we get together, come together and figure out what's best. That way when we get to session, that's game time. Now it's time to implement, it's time to pass those bills, and it's time to push back on bills that you know and can figure out may affect you.
Winfield Clark, Delegate, District 28. The Chamber of Commerce is at the core of business development. They're the voice of the community in the county business. So absolutely a no-brainer, key ally, right? And a key ally in developing strategic plans for smart business growth. That's how I would work together with the Chamber.
James Ashburn, Delegate for District 28. I see the role of the Chamber of Commerce is providing mentors for the new businesses, the people that really don't know what they're doing. They have a business plan, but they need people to connect with in our local community. They need people to connect with that have the bigger business that's looking for the business in Charles County so they don't have to do business in another county. They're also, as a Delegate CT said, they're there to provide feedback to the legislature because as so often as he says, thank you very much.
Evan Smith, running for Delegate of District 28. I see the Chamber of Commerce as the representatives of good business in Charles County. I'm not interested in hearing from big businesses what they think we need. I want to hear from small businesses what average people need. Where the MSCA is the representation for teachers, y'all are the representation for business people. I don't know everything, and I'm gonna need your input if I'm gonna make an educated and correct decision. So I see your role as a good advisory body that I can consult when in the legislature so that I know what I'm doing, essentially.
Delegate Edith Patterson, District 28. I will simply say, do what you're doing. It's been my observation when I was on school board, certainly as a commissioner, and now as a delegate, that you have been our connection to the businesses and the concerns that you have. You've done partnerships, which are important. You have expanded and supported small businesses because that is what we need to make sure that they're vital. You have certainly reflect the business, the community in terms of your mixers and things that you're doing. Sure, it's great for you to testify in Annapolis, but it's more important for you to work with the people who are here that are counting on you. Thank you.
John Jones, candidate for District 28. The Chamber of Commerce plays a vital role. It is the hub for all of our ideas. It's the hub for all of our complaints. And it's important that as legislators, we acknowledge our limitations and empower people that have the knowledge that we do not. I'm interested in starting my own small business, but again, I would be a freshman at doing that. So I would rely on people that have the experience in running small businesses to help guide policy and play a critical role.
Delegate Deborah Davis, District 28. I expect my local chamber to continue to work with the legislators, the local legislators, and the state chambers and business advocates to help us set legislative priorities and to help us guard against legislation that negatively affects business, and to inform our work, because we don't know. We don't always know what the answers are and what the best way forward is. So thank you.
Delegate Darrell Odom, District 27A. My first association with the Chamber of Commerce, I'm just talking in general, was, can you imagine this, in grade school? So you can imagine this has been some time ago. No internet. Our assignment given to us as students was to write to the Chamber of Commerce of each state capital within the country. And the information that I got back was amazing, and we had to report on that. So in order for them to gather that information within the Chamber of Commerce does some mighty fine work. And it took a lot of research for them to provide that information, and it actually promotes the jurisdiction in which it is.
Malden for State Delegate 27A. I'm excited because recently I got connected with one of Maryland's finest Chamber of Commerce, and now I'm a member of the Charles County Chamber of Commerce. Been in existence over 70 years, serving over 500, 800 businesses. I'll continue that connection and that association, because above all else, folks, I'm a business owner. That's what I do today. That's what I did before I got in office. I'm not a career politician. And so I'll continue my connection. We say delegates, delegate for 27A, my name's Malden, but really we're state representatives. The Chamber of Commerce is one where we can represent the chamber, and I think I'm so excited about that and being able to represent the... Had to have my time too.
Telling you that cowbell, it's anxiety provoking. Okay, so that was our last question. Every candidate will get 30 seconds for closing remarks, and we will start with you, Delegate Davis. Delegate Davis.
I hadn't finished writing. Okay, thank you all for being here. It's really important that you know what's happening in your community. I am Delegate Deborah Davis. I have been serving as a Charles County Commissioner and as your state delegate for the last 8 years. I'm a lawyer. I have a small business. I've been practicing law in this county for over 30 years. I am really proud, we're limiting me. I'm really proud of being the chair of the delegation. To have the support of my team is really important, and I'm really excited about that. I'm also very excited about being elevated to Vice Chair of the Judiciary Committee under the new speaker, so I'm really excited about that. I will be I will be, as part of leadership, I will be in the room behind the scenes, helping make sure Charles County is in the room. Thank you.
John Jones, candidate for District 28 State Delegate. Thank you all for your time this evening. As I mentioned in my introduction, I am a father. I am a Charles County product. Everything that I've done as an adult has come through Charles County. My first home, my first kids, my first real job, my first grown-up job came as a result of the things that I did in Charles County. And I'm gonna make sure that everything that I do in legislation helps to develop this county and this area for my children and for my children's children. I just want to make sure that we're in the best place in the state.
I'm Delegate Edith Patterson, District 28. It's certainly been my pleasure to, thank you first of all for hosting us, but it's been my pleasure and honor to represent you in many levels, certainly in the Maryland General Assembly. It is a place where you have to have courage and integrity. It is a place where you have to be present. During my tenure there, I have not missed a day. in a committee or on the chamber. And it's really important to have someone there who's going to vouch for you, to bring monies back to you for the infrastructure, to support nonprofits, to look at ways in which we can help the economic growth of the families of Charles County. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Evan Smith. I'm running for Delegate District 28. As a chemical engineer, I understand technical problems like what it takes to build light rail or renewable efficient power. And as I think the youngest candidate up here, I actually am grappling with the problems everybody's talking about. I live in an apartment that is way too expensive. I know the crisis of how social isolation and COVID led to kind of where we're at now with our youth. My graduation was online. And so you may not agree with me on everything, that's fine. Nobody has the answer to anything or everything, but my perspective is critically needed if we want to do right by our young adults and foster a Southern Maryland that people my age can actually be proud of.
Well, I'm James Ashburn, Republican for State Delegate District 28. Just remember, in the past 4 years, the cost of electricity has increased, taxes have increased, fees increased, regulations have increased, traffic's increased, crime's increased. The quality of our life's decreased. State mandated costs have been shifted to localities. And 2 years later, Francis Scott Key Bridge replacement's still in limbo. What do you got to lose? Vote James Ashburn for State Delegate District 28. I humbly ask for your vote and thank you.
Winfield Clark, candidate for Delegate District 28. Good people of Charles County, thank you for your time tonight. And I want to leave you with this. The challenges here are not Republican or Democrat, but they're real. And our residents don't have time for partisan gridlock. I'm not running to fight political battles. I'm running to bring jobs here, strengthen our workforce, and make sure our growth benefits the people who live here. I'm not focused on results. I'm focused on results, not rhetoric. So let's stop choosing sides, and let's choose progress. Bo Winfield, thank you.
So first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here. In the beginning, I asked you if you were tired, right? We're tired, right? We're tired of the prices in Maryland continuing to rise. We're tired of politics as usual, and we want to see something different. I'm that candidate that's going to be different. I'm accountable, I'm reachable. I would love for you to reach out to me. My name is Shawn Maldon, ShawnMaldon.com. I would love to hear from you. I would love for you to join this journey, and let's do this together. Let's move Maryland forward. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you to the Chamber. Really appreciate you. Looking forward to meeting each of you when it's over. Thank you.
Yanel Moore-Lee, District 27A, proudly the only one woman running in a district that currently has no female representation, and yet women are the ones that largely vote. So you know what to do with that. Experience, integrity, results. That is my tagline. That is what I stand on. That is who I am. All candidates are not created equal. I encourage you to do your research. Find out how people served, where they served. It's not all the same. YanelMoreLee.com. Thank you.
Clifton Crosby, Delegate 27A. I'm a cybersecurity professional and previously a student legislator. I'm a problem solver by trade, and I don't believe that we have to settle for the problems that we're facing today just because that's Charles County, or that's just what comes with living in Maryland. I believe that we have a duty to try and to move this district forward and our state and our counties forward, and I'm the candidate to do that. So please vote Clifton Crosby Jr. on June 23rd. I'm happy to have your support.
Jason Fowler, State Senate, District 27. First off, thank you all for coming tonight. I know it's a Wednesday and you probably have other things to do, but it's important that we all are here. For me, policy is the most important thing we do. It affects my kids, what this place is going to look like in 30 or 40 years. And those are the things that motivate me. That's why I'm here. So I would appreciate your support. Check out our website. It's votejasonfowler.com. And if you have any questions, my cell phone and email are on the website. So thank you.
I'm Delegate C.T. Wilson, running for Senate District 28. I'm a self-professed moderate. I grew up in foster care. I was a combat veteran. I was a bouncer paying my way through law school. I've always been a fighter. For 16 years, I've fought in Annapolis, and I've fought at cost. And in fact, I lost my chairmanship because I stayed a moderate. And when the progressives took over, they took it. But you know what? I'll still fight, because I'll fight for you. And I believe 90% of the people in this state and in this country are in the middle. We're moderates. We don't have to be partisan. We can come together for solutions.
I'm Aaron Corbin. Since I've started running for state senate, a lot of people have been asking how old am I? Like I haven't did anything yet. So to go through it in 30 seconds, I've been an Air Force veteran. I deployed about 4 times, a total of almost 2 years in the Middle East. I worked for Amtrak as a general foreman, responsible for the maintenance of all commuter trains from West Virginia to DC to Perryville. I worked for Metro. I was an engineer while I went through law school. I'm currently a compliance manager. I'm probably gonna go until the bell starts ringing. I have 5 college degrees. I have a 7-year-old son. I've had custody of him since he was 2. I left my mom's house with my backpack. I have 6 houses today, 3 just in this area alone. I'm gonna go till it rings again. Aaron Corbin.
Senator Kevin M. Harris, District 27. Like I said, 11 years, world's finest Navy, 2 tours to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan. Here's what I gotta say. Thank you to the Chamber. Thank you to Charles County to electing me into my first elected position as delegate in 2022. Thank you, Charles County, for nominating me as one of the 3 committees that nominated me to be the state senator for District 27. And thank you, Charles County, for allowing me to be the only 2nd African American to hold that seat. Thank you.
Darrell Odom, representing District 27A. I want to thank, first of all, the Chamber of Commerce for putting this together for us, and of course our host, the post commander and American Legion 82. I never explained I don't think my career as a veteran within the military. I served 2 years in the Army, honorably discharged, and another 29 years as a member of the United States Coast Guard, both active and reserve. I've also served in Prince George's County Fire Department and served as chief officer. So I'm just so pleased to be here to serve you. And I thank most of all those of you within the community who have come out to listen to us speak. Thank you very much.
I was looking at the bell and it still scared me. Jeez. Okay. So I want to thank our host this evening and also our community for coming out. If any of the candidates can hang around for a few minutes to speak with the constituents that are here, that would be wonderful. Otherwise, we will see you later. Thank you all.